Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. I wanted to start with our really famous lake in our area, which is Black Lake. It's its own little area that's incredible. And I talked to Jigger Jim this morning, and he told me, he says, my question to him was, tell me something, Jim, what's the difference now that we're in a transition period and it's going to be fall, or it's fall again? And he said, well, the crappie fishing, of course, is going to be incredible for people that really don't know the lake that well or don't know how to fish crappies. The secret is you go up the Indian River. Thousands of crappies now are heading up the Indian River. And why did they go up there? Well, that's a good question. They aren't spawning, but are they chasing bait that is spawning? I don't know if the bait spawns this time of the year, but I think this is a real critical thing to know, that the crappies go up there by the thousands starting now into the Indian River. So if you're going to fish Black Lake and want to catch crappies, that's where you should go. One of the other things I asked Jim about, I said, well, tell me about the bass fishing. He said, well, you know something? This is amazing to me. For all these years that I've been on this lake, this is the fewest boats I've ever seen on the lake. He says, I think that diehard fishermen just aren't going out. He says, working at the log cabins, he says, you wouldn't believe the days when I'm there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you expect the people to be coming in to get their bait to go out fishing, and they'll start rolling it at 10 o'clock in the morning. He says, don't you tell me that a diehard fisherman is going to wait till 10 o'clock in the morning to go fishing. Well, that's a thought. The other thing that I think is really important for you to know about Black Lake is every year for decades, it seems, they've had the Black Lake Dash for Cash. And Ollie at the log cabin runs this whole thing now. And that's going to take place September 14th. And that's similar to what we do in Meissner with our big bass blowout, where they pay for the weight that comes in each hour. So it's something that is a tradition in Black Lake, and I wanted to pass this on so you all know about it. The other thing that has been a question there in Black Lake this summer is the algae blooms. And when I asked Jim about that, he says, I'm going to tell you something. I've fished these algae blooms for years. In other words, you don't pick where that algae is going to bloom, but that may bloom right in an area that has good fishing. He says it never stops me from catching fish. But the thing of it is, you got to understand, if you can't see in that stuff and you don't have electronics to tell you where the structure is, if there's a log out there, and you can't see it, you cast 50 feet away from the log, you're not going to catch a fish. He said that to him is the important thing about the algae blooms. He says, I think people make way too much of it. Well, I'll let you determine that. But I don't know that much about it, tell you the truth. I haven't really fished algae blooms before. So it's something that I can't really pass on too much information about. But there's been a lot of concern about these algae blooms. Of course, are they poisonous? And we know they can affect your pets, but do they affect the flesh of the fish? That's something I should look into further, and I can pass that on. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.